he finally moves over to Leopold Zunz. But look, Leopold Zunz is 1794 to 1886. Leopold Zunz is 20 years older than Geiger. So, you know, why he treats Zunz after Geiger and not before Geiger, I don't know. To my mind, Zunz, and I have him up there, Leopold Zunz. I don't need to write the dates. You can, I just told you what the dates are. You can get the dates. Zunz really seems to me a contemporary of Krochmal. So Krochmal is 1785. Born in 17. It was Krochmal, by the way, who wrote the Guide to the Perplexed of Our Time, not Zunz. Krochmal is born in Galicia, as I said, in 1785. Zunz, you'll see, is let's see, what dates did I give you? 1794 to 1886, 10 years after Krochmal. So I guess it should go Krochmal, Zunz, Geiger. And then another very important individual that Rudowski covers in great detail on page 192. You know what covers these people. And this is the crux. I'll tell you why it's the crux in a moment. Zachariah Frankel. You'll find Zachariah Frankel on page 192. Zachariah Frankel, 1801 to 1875. So he really is born in Prague, which would make him German-speaking, more Central European. And a leader, as he puts it, of the Science of Judaism movement or school in Germany, even though he's from Prague, but Prague and Germany hadn't really coalesced as a separate nation. All these were Germanic areas and so on. So he really spends a long time on Frankel, because the main thing there with Frankel is what's called the historical school. So Frankel moves from the Science of Judaism school. Let me give you this Frankel here. Okay, I went lost my place here. I can give you the date here. So Frankel is involved in something that comes to be called the historical school. So this is all really intellectual thought which is occurring in Central Europe. Maybe what Heinrich Heine said is correct. If Napoleon hadn't gone to Russia, and if people like the German brigade in his army hadn't deserted over to the German principality side from the French imperial side in battles around 1813 or so, this is in Leipzig, he said, then the whole flow would have been different. Everything would have been dominated by France. But France basically collapsed after the battles that were fought from the Russian campaign in the, when's the Russian campaign? Somewhere around, I think, is it 1809 or something? Somewhere in there? 9, 10, 11, somewhere in there. And then the final defeat is when? What's the date of Napoleon's final defeat at Waterloo? He's already been exiled before Waterloo, you know. Where was he exiled before Waterloo that he came back and fought the Battle of Waterloo from, you know? Yeah, see, your history is shaky in that area because they just don't teach these things very effectively in our area of the world. But he went to the Isle of Elba. Where's the Isle of Elba after many of these defeats that occurred after the Battle of Moscow, the Russian winter, those sorts of things, which basically destroyed his army? And then these other reversals, I guess after Leipzig and places like that, they felt they had him, and they sent him into exile. Where's Elba? It's right off the Italian coast. It's just a little island 5 miles off the Italian coast, not far from, well, I guess the closest coastal town would be something like Pisa, you know, northern Italy, a little bit south of Genoa, but sort of parallel with where Florence is in Italy, but a little off the coast. Small island Elba. Well, that wasn't much of an exile. He could leave there more or less any time he wanted, and he did. Sailed back to France and tried to raise another army in 1814-15 period, and then the British came down with the German troops from England and the Germans across from Russia, Prussia, northern Germany, and where did they meet him? Waterloo. Where's Waterloo? It's in Belgium. It's outside of Brussels. So if you ever go to Belgium and you drive out of Brussels, you can see this huge memorial at Waterloo, which is this big conic-shaped hill where they, I don't know what they buried there, all the soldiers, all the equipment, everything, I don't know what's buried there, but a huge, massive mound that they erected there with monuments and everything. And it's the famous Battle of Waterloo that was fought south of Brussels. As Napoleon army came north, the English army came south, the German army came west, and they met there. And so that was the end of the French Revolution as such, as a imperialist expanding force. So as he's saying, the influence here is Central European. It's German from here on in until the 20th century, intellectually speaking, I'm talking about. It's German intellectuals, like Hegel. Who's the big user of Hegel that becomes totally famous in Western historical, political?
Karl Marx.
Yeah, Karl Marx. Karl Marx is applying Hegelian theory. God, don't ask me how. I mean, you know, this is far above my expertise level. I will tell you that. But if you're interested, you can look into it further. And what does Karl Marx call it? Dialectical materialism, doesn't he? So the dialectical idea comes from Hegel, or Hegel's take on Socrates and Plato. Don't ask me how he gets it. To me, Hegel is full of wind, and so is Marx, and so are the rest of them. But they have some interesting points that they make along the windy way. Most philosophers are pretty windy, actually. So most of us are pretty windy, actually. I don't want to